Hello, my name is Stuart, and this video will be a full showcase of the mod Lacrimis, a magic mod based on the particles that fall from crying obsidian. The mod was made over a span of 2 weeks for Modfest 1.16 by a randomly selected team of 5 people. 2X Psycho and myself did most of the programming, with some rendering code done by Amo. Most of the texturing was spread between Reozea, Chris, and Amo, though I created the textures for most of the rune blocks. Once you download the mod, the first step is to get yourself a book and a block of crying obsidian, and right-click the book on the crying obsidian, which will give you this book, a guide to most of the different powers of the mod and many of the recipes and such. First few items to craft: using silver, which is an ore that can be found in the world. Craft yourself a crucible and a divining rod inside the crafting table. Then put the crucible directly underneath a block of crying obsidian. The crying obsidian will be drained over time. You'll need 2 of them in total to actually fill a crucible. To check the fill, you can right-click on it with the divining rod, and it'll give you a count of the soul tears that the crucible contains. Different items can be thrown into the crucible to create different other special items. Cobblestone will give you tainted sludge. Iron will give you tear-soaked iron. And the soul lantern will give you the tear lantern, a very useful and powerful item. Using items like these, you can create more interesting blocks. Rune stone is a very important crafting recipe. Oh, I should also note that tainted sludge can also be crafted with black stone, gravel, diorite, andesite, and maybe a few other things. I think that's it. Then we've got silver and rune stone in the crafting table can give you the infusion table, where most of the more important crafting items will happen. Placing the infusion table directly next to the crucible will link it up properly, and then you can create things like the tier 1 rune, tear ducts, tier 1 duct connector, which connects runes to tear ducts, and special runes like the healing rune. For an example, if I take all of these items, silver surrounded by runestone, and click this button, it will slowly grab tears from the crucible and then craft the item, and similarly for creating the tear ducts. All of these items' recipes can be seen both in the guidebook and in REI, which I don't have installed in this test world. For an example of the healing rune, setting it up, you'll want to build a 3x3 made mostly of tier 1 runes with a tier 1 conduit connector or duct connector on at least exactly one block, no more, no less. You'll want to connect that to a crucible with tears, and possibly some other items for more advanced runes. Oh, I expected it. I was going to demonstrate healing, but I guess that doesn't work like that. And I'm on peaceful anyway. That's good enough. So, if we stand on the healing rune and use the divining rod on it, or any of the nearby blocks, you can see it heals. Not that I really needed it. But, yes, that's how it works. You can use it for some more advanced... you can use a lot of other runes in the center as well. For tier 1 runes, you also need this cage thing. Iron bars works just as well. For the next rune you might want to use, you'll want 2 special runes. One, the Soul Extraction rune, and following that, pairing up with it, is the Soul Destination rune. Using these together can perform a kind of teleportation, though there are some drawbacks, as you shall see. It creates this cloud of taint that poisons and damages mobs. Though, it can also be used to get a special item, the Solidified Tear. So you'll want to avoid that taint. That taint cloud also pops up if you break a crucible that is full of tears already. The more tears involved in the transaction, the larger the cloud will be, so be prepared. If you want to move a crucible, the best way is to sneak and right-click on it with the divining rod to pick it up full of tears, rather than to drop the tears on the ground. Few more runes. Once you have collected some solidified tears, you can upgrade your tier 1 runes to tier 2 runes. If you got a duct connector, you can just place that in the crafting table to take out the tear duct, and similarly, a tier 1 rune and a tear duct in the infusion table will create a tier 1 or tier 2 duct connector. The other block you really need once you have a solidified tier is to get yourself a Taint Output, which will relocate your cloud of taint to somewhere other than the teleport pad that you're arriving at. This allows you to create more useful teleporters than just... Okay, I set that up wrong. That's a better example. And instead of being poisoned when you arrive at the destination, there being a cloud in there. So, that is a large look at the fundamentals of Lacrimis. There are a few other features that I'll try to get to in a second video. Soul combining, you can move mob spawners, the entire tarot card system, which is a work in progress. But that's a lot of it. Thank you for watching, and try out the mod Lacrimis. I'll put a link in the description.